how does the quadratic sequence work?
The second difference is the same.
The second difference is the same, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So first of all, we are going to write, for us to be able to solve the general term, let us just rewrite our quadratic sequence as 10 and 21, and it's 10, 21 is 38, right? It's 38. Let me just add a bit more terms so that this is a bit more easier to handle. 61, and then lastly is 90. Cool. So first thing that you do, guys, whenever you receive a sequence of values, first thing that you do is to try and establish the difference. So you have to do the difference between two consecutive terms. You say this term 90 minus 61. What is 90 minus 61? What is 90 minus 61? Guys, quick with your calculators if you cannot do it mentally.
29.
29. And then the difference between 61 and 38?
23.
23. The difference between 38 and 21?
17.
17. And then the difference between 21 and 10?
11.
11. All right. So let me just say, guys, they did not tell you that this is a quadratic sequence. So let me just wrap off the statement. Consider the following sequence. Don't say quadratic, all right? They just gave you a sequence of numbers, 10, 21, 38, 61, and 90, without specifying that this is a quadratic sequence. The first thing that you try to establish is a difference between the term. And when you look at this difference, guys, are these terms having the same difference when we are, it's more like when we are subtracting term 2 minus term 1, term 3 minus term 2, are we getting a common difference in this case? No. So can this ever be an arithmetic sequence?
No.
No. So the moment you establish that this is not an arithmetic sequence, you then now say, what if I try to establish another difference between these terms? So this is the first difference that you did. This is you subtracting the terms for the first time. Now you are still attempting to try and see if you can establish a common difference. Let us just say you subtract, you now consider this as a sequence on its own. You see these numbers 11, 17, 23, 29. You just now consider them as a sequence on its own. If you find the difference between consecutive terms in the same way, you are going to say 29 minus 23. That is going to give you 6. You are going to say 23 minus 17. That is still going to give you 6. You are going to say 17 minus 11. That is still going to give you 6. What can you say about the difference that I did after the first one?
Well, so I see the constant difference.
Yes, you see that the second difference that I did is constant. That's the catch. The second difference is constant. It means that the moment I take my sequence, the original sequence, and I do the first difference between two consecutive terms, I do not establish equal terms. So since I'm not establishing an equal difference or a common difference, okay, I have to do the difference again between these new terms, which is 29 minus 23, which gives me 6, 23 minus 17, which gives me 6, and then 17 minus 11, which gives me 6. Now here I can see that at this point, I've established a common difference. All right, I've established a common difference. So now, what do we want to solve here? We want to determine the general term for the quadratic sequence. Let's just say I want to know term number 100, because you cannot keep on adding, guys, manually. All right, you cannot keep on adding manually and say 90 plus this plus this. No. If they say now determine the general term of the quadratic sequence. What do you do first? You guys have learned this with Mr. Mkunu. Let's see how you do.
You'll say 2a is equal to the first number in the second difference, which is 6.
Yes. So
So
guys,
we'll
when
say
you are
2a is
solving,
equal to 6.
yes, when you are solving a quadratic, the general formula for a quadratic pattern, make sure that you say 2 times a is equal to the common difference, which is the second difference in this case, Angesh. That this number here, which is the common difference, the one that we find after subtracting twice, that is the value of 2a. Then using that, you use that to solve for the value of a. If we try to solve for the value of a there, this is going to be divided by 2 on both sides, and we'll find out that our a is equals to 3. Because remember that, guys, for a quadratic sequence, it must be written in the form Tn is equals to an squared plus bn plus c. This is the form, this is the general form that we want it to be in its form. So basically, what do we need to solve? The value of a, we need to solve the value of b, we also need to solve for the value of c. So for us to solve the value of a, you say 2a is equals to the common difference, which is the second difference in this case, this number 6. Is this confusing, guys?
No, sir.
And then what is the next step?
You are going to find b.
How?
3a plus b is equals to 11.
3a plus b is equals to 11. Guys, this one is 3a plus b. You must equate it to what? You must equate it to the first term of the first difference. Alright, so 3a plus b, you equate it to the first term of the first difference. In this case, guys, this is the first difference that we made from the original sequence. So in this case, it is 11. This is the first term that appears in the first difference. It is 11. Okay, so 3a plus b must be equal to 11. And then from there on, you just solve. Because you know that a is equals to 3, you substitute. This is going to be 3 times 3. This is plus b is equals to 11. 3 times 3 is 9, and then you transpose it on the other side. 11 minus 9 will be able to give you 2. Are we still, guys, together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And then how do we find the third value, which is c? Because remember, this is our general formula. Yes, no?
Yeah, you say a plus b plus 10. You don't say a plus b plus 10.
A plus b plus
C.
10.
plus
C.
c is equal to
Oh, okay.
10.
is equals to 10. So guys, now for you to finally solve for the value of c, because you now have the value of a, the value of b. For the value of c, you need to know that a plus b plus c, you must equate it to the first term of the original quadratic sequence. In this case, the original quadratic sequence provided is 10, 21, 38. So you use 10 because this is the first term that appears in the original sequence. Do we see, guys, how we move with this?
Yes, sir.
So you just substitute into this equation, you get 10. So 3 plus 2, that's going to give you 6. You transpose it, c must be equals to 4. 5, Njan.
5, yes, sir.
Yes, it's 5. Cool. So the value of c is 5. So all you have to do is to therefore say, therefore, Tn is equals to, so where there is a here, remember it must be an squared plus bn plus c. So where there is a, I'm going to replace with 3. So this is 3n squared plus, where there is b, I'm going to replace with 2. This is plus 2n. And then where there is c, I'm going to replace with 5. This is plus 5, giving us the general formula of the quadratic equation. Is it hard, guys?
No, sir.
It's not hard, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys saw the process. I'm going to erase because I didn't create more space when I was making these slides. So I'm going to erase and write the final answer since you guys saw the entire process. And since I'm recording these sessions, you can always rewind and go back and see. Okay. So this is our general formula 3.1. It is Tn is equals to 3n squared plus 2n plus 5. All right, 4 marks for doing all of that. You show all the steps, guys. You show all the steps, the ones that we just did. Now let's go to 3.2. 3.2 says find the 10th term. Find the 10th term of the quadratic sequence. So what are we given here, guys? What are we given? This 10th, what is it for?
It's n, which is a position.
It is n, which is the position, because we're looking for the 10th term. But if they said if they said calculate, okay, fine, determine the 10th term for the quadratic sequence. So we are looking for what? We are looking for, are we looking for n
Tn.
or we're looking for Tn?
Looking for Tn.
We're looking for Tn because we've been given that the position for this particular value is 10, position number 10. All right, yes, no?
Yes, sir. Can you please repeat that?
Okay, so here they say determine the 10th term of the quadratic sequence. Remember, this 10th, it is the number of terms, okay? It's more like we are saying term number 1, term number 2, term number 3, whereby these numbers here, they are the positions. For example, this is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term. If we say 10, T10, this is the 10th term. So when we're having the 10th term, we are trying to say that we want the value of the term found at position number 10. Is that kind of clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so we want the value, the numerical value of the term that is found at position 10. So here we're looking for T10 because we know that the position is definitely 10, but we don't know what is the value, which is what we are calculating. All right.
Yes.
Okay. So, hey, sorry guys if I'm doing only higher order questions here. You guys already did lower order questions. So where there is n, I'm going to put 10.
10.
So this is 10 plus 5. And then T10 will give you the value. So what is going to be T10?
225.
What?
25.
25.
325.
Okay.
325.
325. Cool. Easy that one now. Determine which two consecutive terms of the quadratic sequence differ with 95. Which two consecutive terms of the quadratic sequence differ with 95? As Kale. Let's see, guys, how do you handle such in your life? Hey, guys, attempt.
Sir, aren't we solving for n there?
Which n?
From the quadratic, we're going to substitute 95 for Tn.
Okay, let's hear the question one more time. They said determine which two, so you need two numbers there. So which two consecutive terms of the quadratic sequence will differ with 95? Which two consecutive terms of the quadratic sequence will differ with 95? So it means that we are trying, let me just to give you try to give you a perspective. We have got two numbers that are following each other. They are consecutive, A and B, and the difference between them is 95. And these numbers are part of this quadratic sequence that we have. So what is A and B? That's the question.
Same.
Uh-huh.
I think clue.
Yes, is an I.
So the second difference is an arithmetic and it.
That's something.
So we're gonna look for the position of 95. And then Miss Tole, position in 95, it's easy to find A and B.
Okay. Did you guys quite get that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you guys realize that the first difference itself, it is an arithmetic sequence?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's look at it all together so that we can all see it in one side. So this is our first difference. Our first difference on its own is already what? It's already an arithmetic sequence. Our first difference is already an arithmetic sequence because if we look at the first difference alone, there is a common difference between the terms. There is a common difference which is 6, right? And now, recognizing that Bonolo is trying to say this 95, which is the difference between two consecutive terms, which is A and B, which we are looking for. I'm sure we're looking for these terms A and B that are following each other, and they have a difference of 95. So may I please ask, guys, is it correct if I would say that 95, this 95 here, it is part of this arithmetic sequence?
Yes, sir.
Do you guys get the sense, guys? Which is this 95, which is the difference between terms of this quadratic sequence, it is part of this arithmetic sequence. I repeat, guys, do we get it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Just like, for example, if I say here the difference between 90 and 61, you can see that the difference between 90 in the quadratic pattern and 61, the difference between them is 29. Right, that's the difference. If we do the difference between 38 and 21, their difference is 23. Or between 61 and 38, their difference is 23. So basically, the difference here itself, it is making a pattern of its own. So my question here is, if I've got two terms that are following each other in this quadratic pattern, and their difference is 95, because the statement says that determine which are these two terms that are consecutive that differ with 95. So their difference is 95. So we can agree, guys, that their difference, which is 95, it is part of this arithmetic sequence, which is made up of the first difference.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So now Bonolo says that we can try to find what is the position of 95 in this arithmetic sequence. The arithmetic sequence that I'm talking about, it is the sequence of the first difference. Yes, Sam?
Well, sir, in other words, this 95 is the last term.
Well, yes, you can treat it as a last term. You can treat it as your Tn and try to find what is its position. Are you getting the sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So we already know that yes, no.
So say we're going to keep on adding 6 until we get 95, isn't it?
Do we need to keep on adding 6 until we get 95?
Yeah, because 11 plus 6 is 17, and 17 plus 6 is 23. Yeah, you keep on adding.
Yeah,
So.
you can keep on adding, but when will you get to 95? You are in the exam room. You're in the exam room right now. Can you get to 95 quickly?
No.
No. That is why, guys, we've got a general formula. The general formula always helps you to locate any value. Any value. It can help you to locate the position of any value in the term. Any value. All right. Are we together, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So you need to make use of the fact that you already know that in an arithmetic sequence, Tn is equals to a plus n minus 1 times d. Who said that this is an arithmetic sequence in the first place? You have noted that the first difference that we're having here, these terms have a common difference. 11 has got a difference of 6 from 17. 17 a difference of 6 from 23, and so on and so forth. So using this, we can just find the general formula for this arithmetic sequence. So in this case, let's just do just that quickly. So Tn is equals to, what is the first term of this arithmetic sequence? It's 11. Yes, it's 11, guys, not 10. 10 it is the first term of this quadratic one. All right. The difference is 10. The constant difference is 10. So this is 11 plus 6n minus 6. And then that's going to give you 6n plus 5. That's going to be your general formula, or the general term for this arithmetic sequence, which is made up of the first difference from the quadratic one. So now Bonolo says, let us find where is this 95. Because we know that it's part of an arithmetic sequence, we can use it as the value of Tn and say 95. Where there is Tn, we put 95. 95 is equals to 6n plus 5. Okay? Because we're trying to locate its position. Its position will definitely help us to find A and B. So essentially, let's just do the quick math here. 95 minus 5 will give you 90 is equals to 6n. Then you divide both sides by 6. What is 90 divided by 6?
15, sir.
15, right? So we know that this 95, it is found on position number 15. So we definitely know that it is found on position number 15 in the arithmetic sequence. The arithmetic sequence that we know that it is coming from the first difference from the quadratic sequence. So guys, please learn to recognize that we're having two sequences here actually. As much as this is all about quadratic, the arithmetic sequence plays a role because the first difference itself, it is a pattern. Do you get the sense, guys?
Yes.
So now how do we find A and B? That's for you to decide. How do we find A and B? I want to see your critical skills, your critical thinking skills right now. How do we find A and B? Because we now know that this 95, it is the 15th term in this difference. So this is difference number 15 is 95. So now how can we get the two values that are consecutive, A and B?
Sam,
Yes?
is it true if I say 6 plus 95 is equals to B?
6 plus 95 is equals to B.
Is
Why?
Can you please give me a sec? I just want to confirm something.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Looking at the way things are, it's not really convincing. Not really convincing. Why would you even say that? Like, why I want to hear how you got to that. Okay, that's the most important thing. Are you guys stuck? Sam?
I'm still busy with it, sir.
Angel?
So okay, what I did, I used the quadratic sequence, and then I substituted because I'm not sure which terms I'm looking for. So I used the 14th, the 15th, and the 16th to see which one will give me the difference of 95.
So you did it manually.
Yes, I substituted I did T14 on the quadratic formula, and then I did T15, then I did T16.
Oh, so it means that you actually guessed them so that you could actually end up having a difference of 95.
Not really, sir. I thought because the n of the what's this? The arithmetic is 15. Then I thought maybe around 15, 16 or 14, 15, I might find my numbers.
Okay. That's something more convincing than what you said at first. Very convincing. Yes, Sam. Very convincing and correct as well.
Well, sir, since we have found E15 Lanan, I just substituted it with formula layer, the general formula, Zile. Therefore, it gave me an answer of, let me check first. It gave me the answer of 225 when I squared. Therefore, the whole sequence got 15 per 710. I minus 16 because of 16 is the next term of a 95, which is 805. Therefore, in 95. So.
Very good. Hey, Sam and Angel, you got something there. Who else did something in another way? What did you find, Noku?
Same says Hamalan.
Okay, let me give you a hint. Let me give you a hint, guys. Do you see that 10? Let's just focus a bit on the quadratic sequence, the original one. Position number 1, we have got 10. Position number 2, we have got 21. The difference between term 2 and term 1 is 11. The difference between term 2 and term 1 is giving you the first term of the first difference. Do you guys kind of see that? The difference between term 2 and term 1 gives you the first term of the first difference of the arithmetic sequence in this case. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If you look at term 3 minus term 2 is 38 minus 21, you get 17. So the difference between term 3 and term 2 gives you term 2 of the what? Of the first difference. If you continue with the trend, guys, what do you notice there? The difference between term 4 and term 3 will give you term 3 of the third of the first difference. If you continue, the difference between term 5 and term 4 will give you term 4 of the arithmetic sequence. Do you kind of get the sense, guys? The pattern.
Yes, sir.
So do you realize, guys, that n, if I'm saying n is equals to 1, okay, position 1 of the first difference, it corresponds to this value here. Okay, in what way? I will repeat again just a bit. The difference between term 2 and term 1 give you term 1. Difference between term 2 and term 3 and term 2 gives you term 2. Difference between term 4 and term 3 gives you term 3. So do you see that we always get the lowest term here? In a sense, I don't know. Let me try to put it in a sense. So here, basically, since this one this 95, it is position 15 on the arithmetic sequence. So it means A must be position 15 on the quadratic sequence. Do you guys kind of see that? Okay, let's see how. Let me just rewrite it a bit, right? We've got 10, we've got 21. Let's just put some good spacing so that you guys can see. 21, 38. A, B. Let's just write it in this way. We say this is 11. We say this is 17. We say this is 20. Oh, okay. Okay, let's just skip this one. Let's just skip this one and say that later on we find out that the difference between A and B is 95. So look at this carefully, guys. The position, okay, this position 1 on the arithmetic sequence, right? This is position 1 on the arithmetic sequence. It is corresponding to position what? To position 1 on the quadratic sequence. It's more like it is like this 10, it is to the left of this 11 always. This second term of the arithmetic sequence, which is 17, right? This is the second position. In this case, for the quadratic 21, this is the second position. So this is position 2 for the arithmetic. This is position 2 for the quadratic. Do you kind of see, guys, that if I use the same trend, 95, the position of 95, I found out already that it is 15 using the arithmetic sequence. So the position of 95 is 15. So it means the position of A, which is the term that is left to it, it is also going to be 15. Do you guys kind of see the trend?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Therefore, sir,
Yes.
So, sir, the value of B is going to be 16.
Yes, it must be the 16th because they must be consecutive. So not the value, it is the position. So we now know that A, it is at position number 15. We just need to go to the quadratic pattern and try to see what is the value on position 15. Now we know that N is equals to 15, right? N is equals to 15. I go back to my general quadratic formula. So I want to find what is the value when N is equals to 15. So that is 3 times 15 squared. I'm substituting into the quadratic formula, right? This is plus 2 times 15 plus 5. Punch in the calculator quickly for me, please. Okay, 710.
Yes, sir.
All right, so 710. So using the same way, guys, I'm sure you know that these terms, they must be consecutive, they must follow each other. So term B must be on position 16 if term A is on position 15. So automatically you find what is term 16 using the same formula. So we are going to a break, but I think you guys get the idea, right? Hey Lapo, I know that you've been enjoying this wonderful video and most likely you've been enjoying watching this handsome face in front of you, but sorry ladies, I'm taken. I just here to tell you that Educate is on the road to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. So please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you get notifications whenever I post new videos. I want you guys to pass. Okay, so if you make my dream true, I reach 100k subscribers, I will make your dreams come true. I will even get you to varsity. I will get you with 7 distinctions. Yes.
I wanted to say, all this thinking for 3 marks.
Yes, all of it is for 3 marks.
Okay, so
yeah, all of it is for 3 marks. Guys, here they are trying to test your analysis skill. How good are you at analyzing? Yeah, so you need to be an analytical thinker. Yeah, but this is the type of mathematics that will enable you to become a statistician. Yeah, but something that has to do with patterns and a probability and chances of something happening or predicting the next event. This is the critical skills that we need in data analysis, in actuarial sciences. So if any one of you guys are interested in something about actuarial science or data science or something that is to do with the handling of numbers, patterns, and predictions, even when there is an outbreak of a virus, we need people who can trace such patterns. Okay, so it's not useless, it's not all useless, all right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a critical skill, guys. It's a critical skill. So you guys, I think you evaluated for me what was term number 16 there, which was going to be term B.
805.
805. Yes. So the two consecutive terms is 710 and 805. And indeed, if you try to confirm if their difference is really 95 as the statement suggests, you just need to go and take your calculator and do 710 minus 805. If you don't get 95, it will be incorrect.
No, sir. 805 minus 110.
Oh, yes, 805 minus 710. So you are going to do term number 16 minus term number 15. You must be able to get 95. So you've
Right.
already solved out the values of term 16 and term 15. And you get 3 marks. A huge number of marks. All right. So this one, we are going to walk over the quadratic pattern, guys. We're going to walk over the quadratic pattern because if we keep on doing it, it's going to take a lot of time, right? So it's a bit clearer. We're going to just walk over it, all right, or run through it in a sense. So we have got the quadratic pattern given by the terms 0, 21, 54, 99, and it continues. So remember, guys, that we've already been told that this is a quadratic pattern, so we don't really need to determine that. So the difference between 99 and 54, 54 and 21, 21 and 0. Please solve it for me, guys. 99 minus 54. Quickly, guys, punch in the calculator. 99 minus
45.
45, and then do 54 minus 21.
33.
33, and then do 21 minus 0. It's 21. Cool. And then if you try to establish a second common difference, because they've already told you it's quadratic, so you already know that the difference that you expect to find here, it must be a constant one. So if I say 45 minus 33, what do I get?
12.
12.
33 minus 21, 12 as well. You see that, right? So this one is pretty clear, guys. You just need to find the values of A, the values of B, and the value of C. All right, and substitute them into this to find the general formula. To find the value of A, guys, remember, we do what? We say 2A is equals to the common difference. And in this case, it is 12. Do you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
And we solve for A, which is going to be 6. And then to find this one, to find B, remember we use 3A plus B. I'm now doing a walk over it because we've already done something like this. So to solve for B is 3A plus B is equals to 21, which is the what? Which is the first term of the first difference. So this is equals to 21. Substituting our A value, which is 6, this is 3 times 6 plus B is equals to 21. 3 times 6 is 18. You transpose it on the other side. 21 minus 18 will give you 3 as the value of B. And then to find the value of C, you just say A plus B plus C is equal to the first term. It is equal to the first term of the quadratic sequence, and in this case the first term of the quadratic sequence is 0. So A plus B plus C must give us 0. The value of A is 6, the value of B is 3. We substitute. The value of C is not unknown, so C here must be equals to -9. All right, So you guys have already you already have the value of A, B, and C. So you can say therefore the general term Tn is equal to 6n squared. Okay, let me just open space. So are you guys still going to struggle when it comes to finding the general term?
No, sir.
No, it's now pretty simple. That's why I'm becoming fast on it so that we can tackle real problems. Yeah, so this is going to be 6n squared, and then this is going to be plus 3n minus 9. This is your general formula for a quadratic pattern. Simple, right? Then comes the 3 marks questions. Guys, the 3 marks questions are the ones that are that are complicated, but they are awarded very little marks. Now, which two consecutive terms of the first differences of the quadratic pattern will have a quotient of 183 over 187?
Oh, what's the quotient?
A quotient is just a number divided by a number. Yeah, it's just the number that you get when you divide two numbers. Just like a product. A product is a number that you get when you multiply two numbers. For example, 5 times 2 gives you a product of 10. A quotient is a number that you get when you divide. For example, 200 divided by 2 will give you 100. So we want the quotient 183 out of 187. But we want to know which two consecutive terms will give you this quotient. And it's only 3 marks. But look at the steps.
So like, do you have to divide to get the answer? Like, do you have to like divide one term by another term to get that answer?
Yes.
So do you have to figure out which terms are going to divide to give you that?
Yes, to give you that ratio or that quotient, yes. Yes, let's hear the suggestions, Noku. I saw you raising your hand there.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Uzi, do we have to do it the same way as we did the last question, or do we have to do it in a different way?
Well, it depends, of course, It all depends on the approach that you use or the way you understood the question. But maybe we can do it in the same way. Maybe, just maybe. But how? I want to hear when you say the same way. What is the same way in this case?
If you say, you have to think in this question, type of question.
Yes, Sam.
Like the.
Okay. Yeah, you can talk now. You can finish up it.
She can speak. He or she can speak.
Okay, you can talk, Sam.
Well, sir, why don't you make into this fraction go be last term ye arithmetic sequence therefore basis solve and
Okay, so you say let's make the term 183 out of 187 to be the what? To be the last term of the arithmetic sequence.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna give you a decimal.
It can't, because really it's a quotient. It means that you have divided one term divided by the other term. You have divided, in this case now, the scenario that we're having, in this quadratic sequence, we have got a certain value A and a certain value B, such that when you divide A and B, you get 183 over 187. This is the mathematical statement for it. Because it's a quotient. So they want to know what are those two terms that are consecutive? What are those two terms that follow each other, such that when I have a quotient of them or when I divide them, I find this 183 out of 187. I'm not sure which one are you dividing with which one first. Are you dividing A over B or B over A? That you will figure out. All right, but the idea is the quotient is one term over the other must give us 183 over 187.
Well, so I think we divide by B, like A over B, as you did there, sir.
Okay, maybe, just maybe. All right. Yeah. Let's hear what are others thinking. And let me read again. Sorry, let me see. There's the interpretation here. I'm looking at something here. Which two consecutive terms of the first differences, guys? Not of the quadratic sequence itself. Yeah, if you read the statement in a wrong way, the way I did, you will suffer as well. So, which two consecutive terms of the first differences? So to make it simpler for you, I'll just write the first differences like this for you so that you can see. So I've got 0 here, right? 21, 54, 99. Then the first difference is 21, 33, 45. So I'm looking for two consecutive terms A and B in the first difference, term A and term B, that are following each other, such that when I say A over B is equals to 183 over 187. So what must be A, what must be B, so that my quotient can be that. Let me give you 3 more minutes, guys, then at least someone must have a hint of what to do, okay?
I have something, Lasse.
That's nice.
Okay, sir. I realize the question is for which two consecutive first difference term ngakhomba ukuthi okay wena masiqala sewusibonisa ukuthi difference formula uzothi Tn plus 1 minus Tn, therefore sizothatha leya sizosensa for the constant difference, therefore ngithole u12n plus 9. After lokho ngayenza enye ngathola u12n plus 21, therefore ngadivide ngale enye ngipha 12n plus 21 over 12n plus 9. After lokho ngayi-substitute lapha kuleya formula leya futhi se, which is 12n times 12n plus 21 is equals to 187 times 12n plus 9. Therefore mazongeza ngipha minus 2100, it's equals to 1431. After lokho ngathola n wami but negative sankhosho because n wami it was 1431 over 2100.
Okay. Manai, if you substitute those values, are they giving you this quotient 183 out of 187?
But negative.
It shouldn't be negative. The approach is correct. The approach is very correct. So let's use your approach. So I think we can say that if they're saying the quotient of these two consecutive terms of the first differences, right? So we are focusing on the first differences. The first difference is an arithmetic sequence. So we know that these two term values, they must be found along this arithmetic pattern. So that is why I wrote A and B on this arithmetic pattern made up of the first differences. Are we still together on the structuring of my A and B?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then now the consecutive terms, okay, I think we can say B over A. We can say B over A than A over B. Why would we say that? Why would we say B over A than A over B? I don't know why it makes more sense to say that. I don't know. But it's fine. You can still try with A over B and try to see, can you establish something there? But I would say that for us to find our quotient, we would say this term B over the term A, because the quotient simply means that it's one term value over the other term value. So in this case, this is the term value B over the term value A. Do you kind of see this? Do you kind of get the sense of what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I can see strategies on us, sir.
Yes. Oh, but okay, yeah, it depends. You can say A over B, guys. You can try with A over B as well, because someone else, if you guys have got good if you've got good reasoning here, good deductive reasoning, 183 out of 187, it means that the numerator, it is smaller than the denominator. Which one is smaller than the other between number A and number B, if they are following each other in this way?
180.
Therefore, number
So number A is smaller than number B, right? So this is more like it can also make sense to say A over B here, as we said in the first. Yeah. So yeah, I think A over B is more it makes more sense than B over A, because if we say A over B, A has to be a smaller number than B, guys, no matter what. You cannot have 54 and 99 and you would say that 54 is greater than 99. When we are moving with our quadratic pattern or any number pattern, we keep on increasing the values. You can see that there, guys, our difference is positive, so we keep on adding. So A can never be greater than B. So let's just say A over B is equals to 183 out of 187. Now let's see, guys, this A over B, let's just write this as our ratio. Number A over B is 183 over 187. Now I want you guys to think critically a bit with me here. What is this A, guys? Is it a term position or is it term value?
Term value.
Is the term value for the arithmetic sequence, right? Because if you figure out this arithmetic sequence, it has got a constant difference of 12. The constant difference is 12. So you can calculate its general term. And A is actually a what? A term value in the arithmetic sequence. It's a term value, guys. Remember the words that I use here. We've got value and position. A is the term value. Even B is another term value. These are two consecutive terms that are following each other. So please don't get confused there. So if we can get this general formula for this arithmetic sequence, it means we can be able to get A and B, isn't it?
is it, sir?
It is, right? Yes. So
Yes.
you guys will figure out how to calculate that. You already know that for the arithmetic sequence, which is the first difference, you're just going to say A plus n minus 1 times D. And then you just go ahead and substitute your A, which is 21 plus n minus 1 times the difference. The common difference for the arithmetic sequence, it is 12. Because the arithmetic sequence is made up of differences, then it means that Tn, please guys give me the final answer here. 21 minus 12, what is it going to give me?
9.
Positive 9.
Yes, sir.
So the general rule or the general term for the arithmetic sequence is 12n plus 9. So it means I can use this general formula to find the position where A is and the position where B is. Because once I know the position of A and B, I'm done actually. Do you kind of get the sense?
Yes, sir.
Sorry guys, if your heads are busting over three marks questions, but it's inspiring you guys to think critically. All right.
Yes, sir.
So guys, now let's use the quotient. For me to get A, I can just say the position of A, it is n. I don't know the position. I'm looking for the position, right? If the position of A is n, what is the position of B in terms of n? let's just say I've got a term. Okay, let's just say this is the first term 1. For example, 1, the second term is 4, the third term is 5, the fourth term, okay, let's just say it's 3, 4, 5, 6. I want you guys to see this in realistic terms. If I say that my position n is equals to 5, the position n will give me a value which is equals to 5. If I want the position of 6 in terms of n, what is going to be the position of 6 in terms of n?
1/2n.
It's going to be n plus 1. Remember, guys, the position increases by 1 each and every time. Okay, the position always increases by 1 each and every time. How do I mean? For example, this is term number 1. It means this is position 1, this is position 2, this is position 3, this is position 4. So for me to shift from one position to the next consecutively, so I need to add 1 to the position. For me to move from one other position to the next, I need to add 1. Do you kind of see the sense, guys?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
if I've got 2 consecutive terms and I choose to say that the position of this term, which is 5, if I say the position of the term 5, it is n, then the position of term 6, it must be what? N plus 1. Do you guys kind of get the sense?
Yes.
Yeah, it is critical
Yes, sir.
thinking that's required. So if the position of A in this first difference arithmetic sequence is n, so it means the position of B, because we don't know it, we just use letters, it must be n plus 1. Do you guys see that?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yeah, because they're following each other, because they say these terms are consecutive, they're following each other. So essentially that's how you need to work it out. So for me to find A, because I already have my quotient written out, for me to find A, I simply need to use this Tn. If I say term number n is equals to 12n plus 9, and sure I say that the position of A, it is equals to n, right? So it means that I've got n in this equation. So this, I can just say this is equals to A. Is it fine if I say that this is equals to A, guys? Because the position, it is n. The position of A is n. So I'm going to use n for the position of this value, which is A. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me repeat
Yes,
for the
sir.
last time. Let me repeat for the last time, right? I say, dude, the position of the value A in this arithmetic sequence, I'm going to say it is n. So if I'm trying to find the value A, I need to do what? I need to substitute n into this general formula. It's more like it is the nth term. The nth term, it is equals to A. And for me to find the value B, remember, its position is n plus 1. So in this general formula for this arithmetic sequence, where there is n, I'm going to put n plus 1. So if I find Tn plus 1, which is the position of B, which is basically the value which is B, this is going to be 12 into n plus 1 plus 9. So this actually gives me the value of what? The value of B. Do you guys
Can I ask why?
Yes.
Why plus 1?
It's plus 1 because these terms are following each other. When 2 terms are following each other, their positions are different by 1. For example, I repeat again, let's look at the quadratic pattern. 0 is term 1, 21 is term 2, 54 is term 3. So these numbers, these integers, are term positions. So for me to move from one term position to the next, I add 1.
Okay.
So since these 2 unknown numbers, these 2 consecutive terms, which is A and B, are consecutive or they are following each other, it means that their positions are differentiated by 1. So if I say the position of A is equals to n, then the position of B must be n plus 1. Is that clear, Bunol?
Yes, sir.
All right. So here I said A over B is equals to 183 over 187, right? That is the quotient that we were given. That is why, guys, I said it's very important for you to take the English statement and turn it into a mathematical statement. Because if you didn't write A over B is equals to 183 over 187, you would not have a clue on how to handle this. So now all you have to do is to say the value of A, I can find it by saying 12 times n, which is the position of A, plus 9. And then this is over the value of B. The value of B, I'm going to get it if I say 12. Its position, it is n, which is the position of A, plus 1, because it's next to A. It's more like it's next to A. So I can say that in this quadratic sequence, for example, 54, it is at position 3. And position 3 is just 2 plus 1. So I can just say 54, it is at position 2 plus 1. So I'm using the same trick, but I've got n because I don't know the position n. Is it fine, guys? Is equals to 183 over 187. So you solve for n, which is the position of A. Are you guys okay so far?
Yes,
Are you guys okay? Guys, when these 3 marks questions knock you down, move to the next question, okay? Don't waste your time. You have more important things to do. Yabo. Maths has got many different parts. You just need to find out which one is the best for you. Yabo. Do attempt what you are good at first. Then you solve for n from this. You solve for n using your algebraic tricks. But because I already did the problem prior to starting this session, I know that the value of n that you're gonna get there is 45. So basically we can say that term number A, it is at the position 45 on the first differences, because remember that we are looking at the first differences, right? So it is at position number 45 if you do the algebra. Yes, Sam?
Well, sir, a fraction later I couldn't know what is the way forward.
Hey Lapo, I know that you've been enjoying this wonderful video and most likely you've been enjoying watching this handsome face in front of you, but sorry ladies, I'm taken. I just here to tell you that Educate is on the road to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. So please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you get notifications whenever I post new videos. I want you guys to pass. Okay, so if you make my dream true, I reach 100k subscribers, I will make your dreams come true. I will even get you to varsity. I will get you with 7 distinctions. Yes. Let's just complete. So I think we did a lot of explaining, guys. I did try my best, guys. I did try my best. Trust me. So yeah, we ended up finding that E, the first consecutive number that we need, will be at position number 45. So it means B, which is the following one, will be at position number 46 on the arithmetic sequence, because remember they say which 2 consecutive terms of the first differences. The first difference is an arithmetic sequence. You already know that, and you already know its general formula, 12n plus 9. So you just substitute position number 45 here. So you're just gonna do just that and say term number 45 is equals to 12 times 45 plus 9. What is 12 times 45 plus 9? Punch in quickly.
549.
549, 549. And then term number 46 must be the next term, which is our term B in this case. It says it must be in position number 46, all right? So you're just going to substitute 46 where there is n. So this is 12 times 46 plus 9. What is 12 times 46 plus 9?
561.
561. These are your answers. So these are the two consecutive terms, 549 and 561. If you want to confirm your answer, you just need to do their quotient. If you say, I'm sure we say that this is term A, the first one, the one that occupies position N, which is 45. Then this is term B, which occupies position N plus 1, which is 46. So if you do the quotient A plus B, because we said the smaller number over the bigger number, so that's going to be 549 over B, which is 561. Simplify this using your calculator. Just punch it into the calculator and give me, what does it give you?
It's 0.9786, but if you make it into two decimals, 0.98.
Okay, can I have a fraction version of it? Doesn't it have a fraction version?
Oh, it's 183 over 187.
Yes, it's exactly what we were given. It must be, Vel, 183 over 187. So do you see that your answers are correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you say 549 over 561, it's 183 over 187. So the consecutive terms is 549 and 561. But you must say the smaller term over the bigger one, because your quotient is a proper fraction. It means that the denominator is bigger than the numerator. So you cannot say B over A. So guys, it's only 3 marks, but it needs you to analyze. I will try to see if there's a memorandum for this paper. I don't know I even got it, but if there's a memorandum for this paper, I'll try to see if they've got any ways of simplifying it. But Mina, I'd rather go for the critical thinking part. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Bonolo, you were able to solve this. Were you guys able to solve this one? The one that Bonolo sent earlier on. Okay. Before we get there, by the way, guys, before we get there, I'm sure we already have the answers 549 and 561. These are the consecutive terms. Now, 2.2.2, calculate the value of the lowest term. Guys, this is quadratic. It's very important for you to understand lowest term, biggest term, stuff like that. All right. Don't know if I can find some empty space to use here. Okay, it's fine. Let me just open space. They will always give you questions like calculate the value of the lowest term or the value of the highest term. So you guys, I don't know if you know it, that these number patterns that you are doing, they're actually functions. Do you guys know that?
Yes, sir. We're not aware, but my teacher once told me this.
Yes, guys, they're functions. Pella, when you say that we've got a quadratic function, its equation is a quadratic number pattern, essentially. It means that you can plot them on the graph and stuff like that. All right. When we are talking about a quadratic number pattern, right? A quadratic number pattern, it can have either one of two values. It can have a maximum value. It can have a maximum value or the highest value, or it can have a what? It can have a minimum value. It can have a maximum value or it can have a minimum value. Actually, these quadratic equations, you can plot them on a graph, and that graph will become a quadratic function, which is a parabola actually. That is still going to do functions later on. So basically, the maximum value, you find it when the coefficient A is what? When the coefficient A, it is less than 0. It means that when the value of A in this quadratic equation, it is negative, it means that you are going to have a maximum value. But you are going to have a minimum value when A is positive. So if it happens that the value of A in this quadratic equation that you find, it is when you find that it is positive, then it means that you are going to have a minimum value. Do you kind of hear what I'm saying?
Yes,
So can you please repeat?
Okay, so I'm saying that you can either have a maximum value or you can have a minimum value in in a quadratic number pattern. You can either have a maximum or a minimum value. You get a maximum value when a is less than 0, meaning that the value of a here is a negative number. But if it happens that your value of a is a positive number, you are going to get a what? A minimum value. This is because when you plot a graph of a quadratic function, this quadratic pattern, if you convert it into a graph, it's going to become a parabola if you draw it as a graph. So if the value of a is positive, it means that the graph is concave up, something like this. So if your graph is concave up, it means that its turning point is actually the minimum value. All right. So that's why we say that if it happens that your quadratic equation or your quadratic general term of a quadratic pattern, if it happens that the value of a is negative or is positive, it means that you are going to have a minimum value. Are we kind of getting the sense? Okay, we're still going to do functions later on, but it's fine. But if you have got a value of a that is less than 0, which means that a is negative in this quadratic formula, it means that that is going to map out to be a parabola that is concave down. So it means you will get a what? You will get a highest value or a maximum value.
So, sir, if it is equals to 0, can you get both the minimum and the
No,
maximum?
it can. The value of a can never be equal to 0 for a quadratic pattern. Never. It can never. Because guys, remember a quadratic pattern says Tn is an squared plus bn plus c. So if you substitute a to be 0, it means this n squared term is also going to be 0 and it's no longer quadratic. Yeah, it can never be 0. So do you guys kind of get the sense that I'm trying to inspire in you?
Yes.
Yeah, but we'll
Yes,
still do the revision of function, then you understand. So here, when a is positive, you will get a minimum value. So the minimum value is more like the turning point of the graph. If you use this equation, you can draw a graph from it. All right, and you guys know how to find the turning point values, right? Let's say, for example, this equation that we just did is 6n squared plus 3n minus 9. Let me just write it. So Tn is 6n squared plus 3n minus 9. This is our general term. This is our general term for the quadratic pattern or for the quadratic sequence. So this one, if you are going to draw its graph, is definitely going to be a parabola because it has got a squared. It is a quadratic number pattern. So I'm asking myself, I'm asking you guys, is it going to have a minimum value or a maximum value? This pattern, is it going to be a maximum or a minimum value?
Minimum, sir.
Yes. Why do you say it must be a minimum value?
Minimum, sir.
Why?
Well, sir, because I'm looking at my turning point, also.
Where how do you know where the turning point is? Just pretend that you don't see these graphs. You just have the equation itself. This is an equation for a quadratic number pattern. Why would you say that this gives the minimum value? This one is a minimum value.
Because a is greater than 0.
Yes. Guys, you look at the value of a. That's the first thing that you look at. In this case, a is equals to 6. I'm sure a, guys, is this number that is multiplied by n squared. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So in this case, a is greater than 0. So it means if we draw this to be a parabola, we are going to get a minimum value. That is why this follow-up question is saying calculate the value of the lowest term. All right. And how do we find the minimum value, guys? How do we solve the turning point? Because in this case, if we look at it in a graph way, it is the turning point of a parabola. How do we solve the turning point of a parabola?
So is it negative b over 2a?
Yes. So usually we use x is equals to negative b over 2a. But in this case, we are not going to use x, we are going to call it n. Instead of x, I'm just going to call it n. So n is equals to b over 2a. This is how you find the x value of the turning point. In this case, I'll just say this is the n. I won't call it the x-axis, it's the n-axis. Then the other one, it is the tn-axis. It's more like you're saying x and y, guys. These are just functions that we're doing. It's just that you guys are not noticing you want to be too much deep into number patterns. No, they're actually functions and relations between two numbers. So
so when
yes.
they're looking for the minimum and the maximum, are we supposed to use the turning point?
Yes, the turning point is the one that always gives the minimum and the maximum. So whenever you are able to calculate the value of the turning point, then you can find the minimum and the maximum. But later on, you guys are going to do calculus. Calculus makes things easier for you. You won't have to do these formulas. So the value of b for this particular quadratic equation, what is it?
-3, sir.
It is positive 3. This negative is from the formula. And then this is over 2 times. What is the value of a?
It's
6, sir.
Is 6. So this is going
so the
to
answer
be
is negative 1 over 4.
negative what?
1 over 4.
1 over 4.
Okay, this is going to give you negative 1 over 4. So do you see, guys, that this is not really a term position, because remember that n must give you the what? The term position, right?
A whole number.
It must be a whole number. So what do you think this means, since I'm not finding a whole number?
The lowest
Yeah.
value cannot be negative 1 over 4.
We can never have a lowest value, guys. That's why at first, do you still remember me, guys, when I told you to enter the values of n and give me the values of tn? What did we find? I just want to go back again for the last time. This is 0, this is 21, this is 54, this is 99, and it keeps on growing and growing and growing. Do you see, guys, that here the numbers keep on increasing? Like the values, the tn's here, they keep on becoming bigger. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
So can we ever have a smallest value if the numbers keep on getting bigger and bigger and bigger?
No.
No, that is why whenever you do the calculation, you are finding a number that is not an integer. So for this one, we don't really have a minimum value in particular, but I've already shown you the method so that whenever you encounter something that will have a lowest term, because this question, I actually extracted it from another question paper and put it on this question so that I can demonstrate the maximum and the minimum value. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, guys, this one, you were supposed to do it on your own. This one is the most interesting. I think we'll be closing quadratic sequence with it. We have to close quadratic sequence by looking at this one. The general term of a quadratic sequence is Tn is equals to an squared minus 5n plus c. It is given that term 4 is 8n. Term 3 is equals to term 2 plus 5. Calculate the values of a and c. Let me give you time. 5 minutes to think.
Okay, I said for the general term, moving to a general term, 34 is equals to a. Instead of n, I just substituted 04 for each and every term in this equation. Therefore, I found 16a minus 20 plus c is equals to 18.
Okay, so same
Therefore,
said, since we are given this general term an squared minus 5n plus c, we can substitute 4 where there is n because it's the position of term number 4. Okay, if you simplify this, what did you get, Sam?
And 16a minus 20 plus c.
Okay.
It's equal to 18.
All right, equal to
18.
Okay, so guys, do you
Yes,
see
sir.
where this term 4 is coming from? Do you see how Sam was able to find term 4?
Yes.
Yes.
substituted into this general term. But it is also given, guys, it is also given that term 4 is equals to 18. So you already know that the value of term number 4 is equals to 18. So you are allowed to equate these two, because these are two different ways of finding term 4. The one that you are given is that term 4 is definitely 18. The other method, you use the general formula. So if we equate this is going to be 16a minus 20 plus c is equals to 18. And then what, Sam?
I transposed the 20 into 18, therefore it's going to be 36.
Okay, so 16a plus c is equals to 36, is it?
Yes, sir. Sorry, 38, sir.
Oh, it's 38. Okay, yeah, my mistake as well.
Yes.
Yes, what else did you do?
Therefore, I did substitute 3 again and 2 again, sir. I made separate one for 3 and 2.
Or for term 3 and term 2?
Yes, sir.
So Sam did this and say term 3 is equals to, use the same general formula, right?
Yes, sir.
So where there is n, Sam substituted 3, right, to find term 3. So
yes,
this is a times position 3 squared minus 5 times position 3 plus c. What is the value of term 3?
9a
9
minus 15.
9a minus 15
plus c.
Plus c. All right.
Then after I did for number T2, yeah.
You also did the same for term 2. So Sam also did the same for term 2 and said that term 2 is a into, substituted 2 where there is n.
Yes, sir.
So what is the value of term 2?
4a minus 10 plus c. Then after I said T3 is equals to T2 plus 5.
Therefore, T3 is equals to T2 plus 5, which is something you got from the statement, right? Do you guys all see it, this one? Are we guys seeing it?
Yes.
Yes, it's from the question itself, yeah?
Then I took those expressions for T3, I substituted to the formula.
Okay, so the equation for, the expression for T3, it is this one, right? And then the expression for T2, it is this one. So Sam said we substituted that. Where there is T3, we put 9a minus 15 plus c. And where there is T2, he put 4a minus 10 plus c. But there is a plus 5 there, guys, already. So it's plus 5. And then
I tried to manipulate the brackets so that I can simplify.
Okay. What did you get? Okay, you can just tell me the steps one by one. Okay,
so the first thing, I just made sure that I transpose everything that's on the right into the left, so I can leave variables ngapha se. Therefore, I made 9a minus 4a.
Minus 4a, you transpose this
minus 4a.
Yes. And?
Yes, sir. No, seeing me therefore also consider nabo c, sir.
Okay, so he transposed c to the other side of the equal sign, so it becomes minus c. So the c and the c will cancel out. Do you guys kind of see that if we transpose the c?
Yes, sir.
Guys, okay. And then what else did you have?
Then I took this 15 into another side and I just make sure that these variables are a as a side in one and then mangi ago another side.
Yes,
that I
guys,
can
this negative 15, you take it to that side, it becomes positive, but there is a negative 10 there, and there's also a positive 5. Do you guys see that? Is
Yes,
that clear, guys? Okay, so 9a minus 4a will give us what? 5a, right? And 15 minus 10 is 5 plus 5 is going to give us 10. Then you need to divide both sides by 5. A is equals to 10 over 5, which is equals to, do you guys see it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And then to find C, you can just use any one of these equations that you have. You can use this one that says 16a plus C is equals to 38. Okay. So it's all about playing with these expressions, guys. 16a plus C is equals to 38. And we found out that our A is equals to 2. So we can just substitute here and say 16 times 2 plus C is equals to 38. And then solve this automatically. 16 times 2 is 32, right? So this is going to be 32 plus C is equals to 38. You transpose the 32 to the other side. What is 38 minus 32?
6.
6. So that's the value of A and C. So if they say, hence, write down the general term for the quadratic pattern, you can say, therefore, at the end, Tn is equals to the value of A. Remember that the value of A here is unknown. So this is going to be 2n squared. The value of B, it is known, it is negative 5, right? So this is negative 5n. Then the value of C, we calculated it, is positive 6. So this is the general term of the quadratic pattern, if they ask it. Are we together, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how it feels like to be a creative learner now. Critical thinking, guys. This is what I want. You guys should think critically, because at this point we've got serious problems in the world. You cannot solve them if you guys think in a passive way. So we need you guys to be active thinkers and be able to think analytically as well. All right. So since let's just say consider it done, the quadratic sequence. Yeah, the quadratic sequence, let's just say we are shoving it off the way, and let's see, now it's going to a 10 minutes break in just in a minute. It's going to a 10 minutes break. So during the break, you guys will do Bonolo's questions. So the break will be 20 minutes.